What is going on here?
I'm repeating myself, and I'm going to have to say it again. I understand that sounds horrible.
Adam Neumann, the infamous CEO behind the company WeWork, was set to revolutionize the industry of working. Instead, fueled by greed and delusion, Adam led his company from a modest startup to a multi-billion-dollar company, and then suddenly watched everything crash down around him. From allegations of horribly mistreating staff to genuine startup tunnel vision, Adam fell into the trap of the cultish obsession with Silicon Valley entrepreneurs. He was on top of the world, and then he crashed. Hard. Now he's trying to claw his way back to success. But will it work in his favor, and has he really learned from his mistakes? Today we're covering Adam Neumann, the defunct WeWork CEO. Tomorrow though, you decide. Let us know in the comments down below who you think we should cover on the next episode of Where Are They Now. While you're down there, it would be really great if you could hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, just so we know we're doing good. Now, let's get into it. Adam Neumann is from Tel Aviv, Israel, but only lived there for a short time before he and his family moved to the United States once his parents got divorced and his mother wanted to do her medical residency overseas. Then, after 4 years, they moved back to Israel, where he would live until he finished his mandatory military training with the Israeli Naval Academy. Once his conscription was completed, he decided to go to New York City to attend business school. Adam had always known that he wanted to be an entrepreneur, and he got his start by creating a clothing line for kids. The company itself flopped, and he abandoned it within a few years. In 2008, Adam noticed a niche on the heels of the stock market crash that left millions of people with job insecurity who were turning towards entrepreneurship as a form of stability. He and a colleague created the company Green Desk, which was a shared workspace business focused on sustainability. Basically, what that means is that they are glorified landlords who rent office spaces to individuals rather than leasing to whole companies, allowing business owners to work from an office instead of at home on their own companies. He had 2 buildings in New York that were doing exceptionally well, and he wanted to expand outwards, so he found investors with extremely deep pockets. By 2010, they had rebranded as WeWork, and because Neumann fit the bill of a quirky, driven visionary with a gift for salesmanship who would bring in millions for them all, investors practically lined up to give him money. His quirky personality kept investors from asking too many questions and fostered a tunnel vision of sorts that cared more about stock price increases rather than balance sheet results. On the heels of Apple revolutionizing business, it seemed that investors were more concerned with knowing that their stock was going up rather than seeing genuine profit increases on paper that pertain specifically to a rising success of the company. By the way, when I say quirky behavior, I mean it. Adam was an extremely lavish person, and despite touting sustainability, he went on tons of private jet flights. One of which he and his friends were doing so much, leafy green stuff, while inside of a plane that the flight crew had to don oxygen masks just to continue working because of all of the smoke. Neumann became known for his excess and, well, his greed, honestly, and it only kept escalating. He became convinced that death was a technical issue that would be solved with time and science, and so he invested heavily in startup life science companies. He also continued to collect millions of dollars from investors to open up different WeWork offices around the world. He became a sort of Marie Antoinette-like figure, ordained with wealth and spending money like he breathes air, all while his company begins to show signs of crumbling around him. He would leave employees to clean up the mess he had created, and continually abandoned other staff members who were starting to notice inconsistencies in the company itself. He was often completely impossible to get a hold of. Quote, sometimes he would abandon them upon landing at an airport for meetings, leaving staffers to find their own way home. This mirrored his behavior on land too. Adam would meet with staff and even interview prospective employees while riding around in his super luxury car costing more than $200,000. Then, when he was done, tell them to get out and ride in a separate car in his convoy. All of these insane and wasteful details in Adam and his wife's life are so hypocritical when you look at the business they had built themselves as. The WeWork company was founded on the principles of environmentalism and sustainability. Meanwhile, the CEO and his wife lived in a multi-million-dollar mega mansion, all while touting eco-friendly lifestyles to which they were not holding themselves accountable for. The Neumanns also treated their employees like serfs. The office was routinely trashed from weekend parties, and employees would come in on Monday morning expecting to pick up after the CEO and his friends. Everyone had the expectation of having to clean up for Adam and his friends, whether it be hop on a flight at a moment's notice to meet him where he is, or to work insane hours at a time just to make up for the slack of an absentee CEO. Then in 2018, cracks in the company definitely started to show. WeWork faced a lawsuit from a former employee who identified issues of inappropriate behavior specifically to the women in the office by both Adam and other employees. In her lawsuit statement, she accused Neumann of plying her, quote, with shots during her interview with the company. Shortly after the lawsuit came to light, WeWork created a policy that its employees could only drink 4 beers per day at the office instead of the unlimited amount previously. I love how that's just a normal thing to say for this company instead of completely insane. I would literally never get any work done. Then in August 2019, his extravagant lifestyle and greed finally caught up to him. WeWork attempted to become an IPO, which basically means opening their stock to the public to drive up value. WeWork directors were extremely concerned about Neumann's lifestyle looking bad on the company if it went public, and they were planning on asking him to step down as CEO, quote, after a tumultuous week in which his eccentric behavior and substance use came to light. After Adam got wind of this planned takedown, he took $700 million out of the company, and basically, by staging a coup, the directors kicked him out as CEO and replaced him. But not really staging a coup, because they let him keep the money and paid him $192 million cash to walk away. While that is an insane amount of money, after he stepped down, Neumann was dropped from the Forbes billionaire list. For the rest of 2019 and basically up until now, WeWork has tried and kind of failed a little bit to recover from its reputation as a hypocritical greenwashing company that allows its greed-driven CEOs to run off the rails. Meanwhile, Adam is attempting to make a comeback to the entrepreneurial world. In 2022, he started buying apartment buildings in New York, and it's estimated that he owns approximately $1 billion worth of real estate in his some 4,000 apartments. For an interview done in March 2022, he also expressed wanting to rejoin the business side. Quote, to be an entrepreneur, you have to regularly make decisions on the spot. And to be successful, you have to, over time, make more right decisions than you did wrong, actually a lot more right. And the higher the growth of the business, the faster you move, the tougher it is to do. But the longer you practice, just like surfing over time, the better you get at it. So you fall in surfing and then you get up and do it again, and you just do it a little bit better. Adam states he plans on shifting to residential sectors rather than commercial. The median age of a homebuyer in the US has grown from 31 in the 80s to now almost 50 years old. He is attempting to make home building more accessible to young people who are so often pushed out by an impossible market. Although it seems to just be in the talking stages, and I can't quite seem to find a direction that Adam specifically wants to head in, it's just that it's kind of an idea he's hoping to achieve. Quote, we started by buying this real estate, and then I started walking the buildings, just feeling, and it feels like there's so much more that could be done to make tenants' lives better. In regards to his previous scandals, Adam stated about this new direction, quote, I think what's beautiful about the new story is that it is a progression and a consequence of the old story. I don't know if it's a model, but a thought that guided me is that if we take everything that happened as a lesson and we celebrate the great, we learn from whatever it is we can learn from, and then apply it as we move forward into the future, then it's extremely beneficial. That being said, there has been no improvement when it comes to Adam's lifestyle. He still lives extravagantly and prioritizes fun over business, which I think, for someone attempting to be back at the helm of such a large corporation, is not a good thing. I think that as long as Adam continues to be as greedy and selfish as we've seen him in the past, this new business is just as likely to crash and burn as his others, no matter how persuasive he can be. So how do you feel about Adam's story? Let us know in the comments down below, and don't forget to slap that subscribe button straight across the face. It would be very much appreciated. I've been your host, Sierra. Thank you for watching Where Are They Now? See you guys next time.